President Trump just leaked critical evidence about the rigging of the 2020 election, and even more is going to be coming out. As you guys know from following me for a long time, I usually don't go back in time. I don't break down cryptic things, but I believe that the President of the United States is using cryptic language to let us know something massive is coming in 2026, and it's going to make MAGA very happy. So please give this video a like, share it on Facebook and over on X. I'm going to walk you through the evidence that our president is sharing, but let me go back in time to show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is a Truth Social post on Christmas. Merry Christmas to all, including the many sleazebags who loved Jeffrey Epstein, gave him bundles of money, went to his island, attended his parties, and thought he was the greatest guy on earth, only to drop him like a dog when things got too hot. Falsely claimed that they had nothing to do with him, didn't know him, said he was a disgusting person, and then blame, of course, President Donald J. Trump, who was actually the only one who did drop Epstein, and long before it became fashionable to do so. When their names get brought out in the ongoing radical left witch hunt, plus one low-life Republican, Massey, and it is revealed that they are Democrats all, there will be a lot of explaining to do, much like there was when it was made public that the Russia hoax was a fictitious story, a total scam, and had nothing to do with Trump. The failing New York Times, among many others, was forced to apologize for their bad and faulty election reporting, even to the point of losing many subscribers due to their highly inaccurate fake coverage. Now, the same losers are at it again, only this time, so many of their friends, mostly innocent, will be badly hurt and reputations tarnished. But sadly, that's the way it is in the world of corrupt Democrat politics. Enjoy what may be your very last Merry Christmas, President Trump. Okay, so what he's letting us know is that they are trying to use Jeffrey Epstein, a low-life pervert, as a distraction from what he's really trying to do, and that is to prove that our elections are not safe and secure, that there is foreign interference, that there is election rigging, manipulation of ballots. We're seeing it in Arizona. We're seeing it in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. And right now, he's putting a giant magnifying glass on Georgia, where over 300 ballots were not signature checked and over 370,000 disappeared. No proof of them, okay? So let me go back to this really quickly. So he says that Epstein, who he dropped, is a distraction. But what we're going to see is that it's going to be all Democrats that were involved in his circle of influence. Then he kind of switches gears and says that the New York Times put out bad and faulty election reporting, which is going to damage their reputation. He then says, this is going to be some of your last Christmas. So enjoy. Have a very Merry Christmas. So although this is a Christmas story I'm sharing with you, he's dropping Easter eggs on what is to come. Let me show you the next thing. He says, now 1 million more pages of Epstein are found. DOJ is being forced to spend all of its time on Democrat-inspired hoax. When do they say no more and work on election fraud? The Dems are the ones who worked with Epstein, not the Republicans. Release all their names, embarrass them, and get back to helping our country. The radical left doesn't want people talking about Trump and Republican success. Only a long ago dead Jeffrey Epstein. Just another witch hunt. So what we're finding out, remember they've been saying Trump is hiding this. Trump isn't releasing it. He's releasing everything. And now he's taking it to the next level. He says, wait a minute, under the Democrats, under Joe Biden, they hid over 1 million additional documents. And now we found them and we're releasing everything. And it's going to be Democrats and it's going to embarrass them. He says, share their names far and wide because they are an embarrassment. But again, he sticks to the fact that because of this, he can't get to what he really wants, which is election fraud. Then on Christmas, instead of spending time with his family, what did he do? He starts leaking out all of these videos about election fraud and manipulation and issues with the voting machines and the paper ballots. I'm going to show you just one of the many videos he put out, but I have from high-level sources in the government as well as the military, they are all telling me something massive is coming, that there are behind-the-scenes investigations that are trying to be blocked by the CIA, that the FBI is trying to stop from coming out, but Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Trump, and others, they are getting ready to dump a massive amount of data onto the American people. And so President Trump is showing stuff about Georgia and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Arizona. Let me go ahead and show this to you, and then we will react to it together. Let me show that to you right now.
We saw numerous examples of numbers moving, numbers being flipped and switched. As you realize, the Antrim County is where the 6,000 vote glitch occurred. An error rate is permissible for 1 out of 125,000 ballots. And if you look at just what happened in Antrim County, the error rate was 8.3. So it puts it about 750 times the allowable limit. And according to the regulations, that should have disqualified.
We have multiple ballots with the very same signature.
I don't know if challenge is the right word, but until we get
We're
it,
challenging.
We'll go ahead and count the ballots.
right, we need you to move forward.
But we will separate out and count those and add those in. But there's going to be an asterisk saying these ballots have the same.
And again, we know that you have a concern with this precinct, and as soon when you get done with the audit part of it, not an investigation, not counting.
We have 7,769 votes for Biden, and then for Trump, 4,509 votes. But that was wrong. And here are the actual results. Trump, significant margin over Joe Biden. First, they said, I believe this was a human error. Then they said it was a mechanical error. Then they said it was a human error. What happened?
Well, what happened was the machine is designed to generate huge numbers of errors when you run ballots through the tabulator. And then those ballots, those errors, go to adjudication, where someone sitting somewhere, we don't know where, can simply click on one button and bulk adjudicate thousands of ballots at once. So in this case, they were able to adjudicate, 12,000 ballots roughly, with one click of the button.
Okay, and that's not good. Adjudication and the rate of ballots that were being adjudicated, i.e., it goes through the machine, something doesn't look right, a human being has to take it and do something with it. What was the rate of ballots that needed to be adjudicated?
68% of the ballots run through the machine had to be adjudicated.
And tell us just how crazy off the wall that number is or isn't. It seems kind of high.
It's very high because the federal allowable rate is 1 in 125,000 ballots. That's the error rate. And this program is designed specifically to generate these types of errors. And that's how they move votes from one candidate to another. They put them in these folders for mass adjudication, and they are shipped somewhere. In our case, specifically, as you see in the report, we can't tell that right now because on November 4th, all of those system files, adjudication files, and internet files were deleted. So that's pretty significant.
This is what we found. Another thing that we found very disturbing. And this, there's an adjudication process that probably, I know you're probably familiar with, Pete, but if there is a mark that is questionable, the ballot should be sent to an adjudication holding area to be resolved manually by a 3-person team. Well, that's the way the system normally works. However, what the batch logs say is that all of the ballots were sent to adjudication. Virtually all of the ballots. Now, adjudication only applies to mail-in ballots, so virtually all of the mail-in ballots, which was approximately 148,000, were forced into adjudication unnecessarily, and that's where they incur that extra risk of manipulation. What we're concerned about is that the electronic manipulation that can take place in adjudication, not necessarily the manual adjudication, even though that is typically biased.
Wow. 140, again, let me emphasize this and get it correct. 148,000 were forced to adjudication.
Right. And the elections director actually admitted this on November 5th at a 5 p.m. press conference. And he said that at that time of 113,000 ballots, 106,000 had gone to adjudication. And we were saying, what? How can that possibly be? And now we know it's because the logs were set to force them into adjudication.
Because if we don't have the counts, then we can't move forward. And we understand that there is a concern with this precinct, but this is not a time for you to be investigating right now.
Did you
This
find
is a
something
time
else?
for you. No.
No.
So you need to move forward with the audit so we can get the numbers, so we can see how many ballots are here.
But wait, okay, so when we're done with the audit, there is still the opportunity to challenge the fact that we have multiple ballots with the very same signature.
I don't know if challenge is the right word, but until we
We're
get,
challenging.
We'll go ahead and count the ballots.
right,
Keep going
we
forward,
need you to move forward.
But we will separate out and count those. And
Okay.
those in the work, there's going to be an asterisk saying these ballots have the same.
And again, we know that you have a concern with this precinct, and as soon, when you get done with the audit part of it, not an investigation, not counting, that's not your role right now, this very minute. So what I need you to do is complete the audit so we can get a number of how many ballots were in this can when you started counting, and we can move forward from there. Okay, so what I need for you guys to do right now is to finish the
We'll have a
audit
number.
process.
We'll have a number.
We'll have a number. We can't-
Separate them out.
Whether valid or invalid, we'll have a
That
number.
is not the process right now. The process right now is for you to put them in the piles where they belong, and for the presidential vote, and count the presidential votes. We understand that there is possibly an issue with this precinct. We understand that. But what I need for you to do right now is to finish the presidential race audit, not separate them out, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay, but I need you to continue the process right now, please.
You realize that the former state representative had issues with counting ballots and making it valid.
I understand, but until we get a count, we need that piece done first. We need the audit piece done first, because that's why we're here. And we will look at the numbers. Okay? And I understand that there may be an issue. And I understand your concerns. So if we can complete the audit piece right now, then we can move forward, okay? Thank you.
With those key elements that showed differences in the data runs and the tapes, and I believe I've provided that to you as well. And then a declaration by Robert Marsh, the Star Township supervisor. A couple of the excerpts. When he said, upon examining the tape at the close of the polls, I could see that President Trump had clearly won the presidential race in Star Township. He said, I believe the numbers were 462 for President Trump, with Joe Biden receiving 161 votes. Normally, when a candidate has such a large lead, it's safe to assume who the winner would be. Early the next morning, my wife received a phone call from a friend asking what happened to Antrim County going blue, meaning Democrat. At 7:36 that morning, I was texting our stats representative, Tristan Cole, to find out if those are the actual results. At the time, Tristan advised me that the numbers were not right, that Antrim County was reporting 462 votes had been credited to Joe Biden, and President Trump had only received 10 votes. So we saw numerous examples of numbers moving, numbers being flipped and switched. As you realize, the Antrim County is where the 6,000 vote glitch occurred. And if you look at the numerous references in the guidelines for elections in the Help America Vote Act, the Federal Election Commission Voting System Standards, and the Federal Information Security Modernization Act, an error rate is permissible for 1 out of 125,000 ballots. And if you look at just what happened in Antrim County, the error rate was 8.3. So it puts it about 750 times the allowable limit. And according to the regulations, that should have disqualified. They went later and changed that from a glitch to a clerical error, which, they kind of changed up the reporting on that a little bit.
All right. So, wow. It's all starting to come out. I mean, this is just one of dozens of videos that President Trump put out. I've been telling you guys about Venezuela, Smartmatic. More information is coming out about Dominion. But just in here, just a recap, right? We saw the computer systems suddenly making hundreds of thousands of ballots available for adjudication, where it should have been 1 in 125,000. We're getting 138,000 ballots that they say, we don't know who this vote is for. And then they changed it as a block, as a folder to one specific person. You saw them saying, hey, hold on, we can't complete this audit. We're literally finding dozens of ballots with the identical signature. And they say, just move on. You're not an auditor. Move on. Down in Georgia, missing ballots, missing ballot images. You saw up in Michigan, they literally flipped the votes from President Trump over to Joe Biden. And magically up in Pennsylvania, over 700,000 votes magically showed up for Joseph Robinette Biden. I'm telling you, it's all about to come out. All right, if you found this video valuable, please hit that like button. Share this on Facebook, X, wherever you have social media with family and friends. And if you enjoy getting the truth about what's going on in our country, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay amazing. I love you, and I will see you on the next video.